Okay. According to the cell phone time, it's 1 o'clock. So I'd like to call the board meeting to order. Thank you everyone for being here on this wonderful fall afternoon. You have your packets in front of you. First thing up on the agenda are announcements. Any announcements? You guys have none, I have two. One, we have a thank you card from New Heights School thanking us for the modular classroom that we donated to them. And so they really appreciate it. And so New Heights, you're welcome to that building and facility. Second, we're going to congratulate Maddox Stutter. Recently won an award. He was invited to Jefferson City on October 29th. He was among several young adults invited to the state capitol to receive the Next Gen Under 30 Missouri Award in recognition for his service, leadership, and high potential. Maddox was able to meet with state leaders, representatives, and senators at the state capitol as part of the day in Jefferson City. Thank you and congratulations on your honor. With
Don't
that.
forget us.
So, congrats. Next up is the minutes from the September 13th board meeting. Those were sent out to you as well, so I'll give you a chance to peruse them again, and I will entertain a motion.
Move the minutes be approved.
I have a first from Governor Rosenberg. Second.
I'll second.
Second, Governor Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. And next up, we go into reports, and we have a report from the President, Dr. Dean Van Galen.
Thank you, Governor Haley. I also want to begin by congratulating Maddox for his recognition for a Next Gen Under 30 award. He really exemplifies the best of our students, the way they develop and grow here at Missouri Southern, and a great example of how we're fulfilling our mission. So congratulations, Governor Stoddard. I'll highlight some elements of my written report, which has been given to the board. I want to point out we recently honored really the Missouri Southern legacy of the Spiva and Cragen families as we rededicated the University Art Gallery, formerly known as the Spiva Art Gallery, now as the Cragen Art Gallery. The gallery continues to host important exhibitions ranging from local to global and is a real asset to the Joplin region. The four grandchildren of Mr. George A. Spiva, who are also children of John Cragen and Joy Spiven Cragen, supported the renaming of the art gallery and generously established a new endowment as part of the Lions Forward campaign. Proceeds from this endowment will be used to produce and promote exhibitions in the gallery and care for that space in perpetuity. Also highlighted in my report is the induction of the 1974 women's basketball team into the MSSU Athletics Hall of Fame. This in conjunction with the 50th anniversary of women's athletics here at Missouri Southern. We are truly grateful for that 1974 team coached by Sally Beard, who paved the way in so many ways for future opportunities for today's women student athletes here at Missouri Southern. If you take a look at the photo in the report, that is from the induction event in Young Gym, and that photo includes members of the 1974 team who came back to campus, along with members of our current women's basketball team. And I think it's really inspiring to think about how the actions of that 1974 team have impacted today's women's team and our student athletes 50 years later. Also, a bit about legislative priorities as we look forward. It's certainly a time of transition in Jefferson City. We look forward to Mike Kehoe's leadership as Missouri's 58th governor and to other changes at the executive level and in the state legislature. This includes welcoming a newly elected member of the state legislature, Kathy Jo Loy, who will be representing the 163rd House District, which includes the Missouri Southern campus. Had the opportunity to meet with Ms. Loy several weeks ago, and she certainly has a very strong interest in the success of Missouri Southern. Highlighted in my report also are a set of priorities for working with Governor Kehoe and legislative leaders. As you will see, the Coordinating Board for Higher Education, the CBHE, has requested a 3% core increase, funding for Mo Excels projects, a program that has greatly benefited our campus, and maintenance and repair funds. We have identified 2 critical projects that could be addressed if these maintenance and repair funds are ultimately approved by the state. First, the repair of the criminal justice gym floor, and then the phase 1 of the repair of the plumbing original to Robert Ellis Gym, Young Gym over on our campus. In the coming days, we'll be meeting with our region's legislative delegation to reinforce those CBHE priorities and also to seek their guidance and support on our campus priorities, including a joint resolution, our expanding our statewide mission, continued funding of the Science to Jobs program, and funding of facilities projects aimed to repair and modernize our campus. The success of our university is because of its people. And you may have noticed in my report a rather remarkable photo of our mechanical maintenance supervisor, Robert Frossard. He is high atop a 100-foot lift repairing the cable system used to hoist the American flag in front of the Billingsley Student Center. Robert has worked at Missouri Southern for 30 years and is well known for his helpfulness and his passion for MSSU. Thank you, Robert, and it's a reminder that all of us, although we have different roles, different skills here at Missouri Southern, all of our work matters as we fulfill our mission. Finally, it's always nice to see members of our Board of Governors on campus engaging with our own campus community. Jeannie Nice has distributed to the board a list of some upcoming opportunities to do just that. I would certainly highlight the Veterans Day event this coming Monday in the BSC Ballroom. That event is at noon, and we will recognize and honor those who have served and sacrificed for our freedoms. In fact, we have approximately 130 students, active duty, veterans, reservists, National Guard, and dependents, 130, who are utilizing VA educational benefits this semester. Several of our faculty and staff are also veterans, including Associate Vice President Dr. Shelley Hewitt. A week from this Sunday, we will host our annual International Student Thanksgiving event in the Ron Richard Athletic Center. We will invite our 182 international students who come to us from 38 different countries to enjoy some traditional Thanksgiving food and learn about our traditions. One of their favorites is also taking photographs with a turkey with knives and forks. It is really a good time, and I know our students appreciate board members and others who can serve as table hosts at that event. So I hope many of you are able to attend. It's a lot of fun. So Governor Haley, this concludes my report. As always, I'd be happy to take questions or comments.
Questions for Dr. Van Galen? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the report of the Executive Vice President, Dr. Brad Hodson. So we're supposed to remind everyone, please turn your mics on when you're speaking for the recording. Dr. Hodson.
Good afternoon, everyone. You have a copy of my report in your packet. I did see during lunch several of you step over to the window to get a great view of the construction of the Blount Health Science Innovation Center. You can see the structural masonry beginning to come out of the ground on the stair towers and the elevator shafts. When you next convene in January for your Board of Governors meeting, we might have concrete slab being poured and structural steel on site ready to be hung. And so the building is coming out of the ground. It's very exciting. You have some notes there on the status of the facility. We are still operating under a budget of $48.2 million, and you can see the fundraising totals and the gap we're still seeking to fill. But it's a great project and well on its way. Still a June 2026 substantial completion date. Then you have information on the Lions Forward campaign. As of the end of October, we had documented commitments of $35.1 million, and we're targeting $37 million by June 30th, which leaves just short of $2 million to raise in the next 8 months. And so we are working diligently on that effort. And then finally, I provided you a list of 14 projects that the facility services team had completed in the first 4 months of the fiscal year, mostly done by external contractors and vendors, but certainly coordinated through our facility services staff here on campus. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Dr. Hodson? Okay, thank you for your report. Next up is a report from the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Lisa Toms.
Well, good afternoon. On October 2nd, a collection that was contributed by Dr. Melvin Mosher, Emeritus Chemistry Professor, and Mrs. Donna Mosher of Inuit Art, Soapstone, was dedicated with several government officials from Canada present. That collection is now on display on the second floor of Webster Hall, with the exception of a couple of pieces that have ivory. Didn't know this, but ivory is very sensitive to humidity, and so those are having to be kept in a special humidity controlled environment. But you guys need to go see it. It's really quite interesting. On October 9th through the 12th, the Department of Performing Arts performed Schoolhouse Rock Live, and if I started singing some of the songs, some of you could sing them with me most likely. Exciting part of that was over 2,100 elementary school students and community members attended during that. There were so many students that wanted to come, they had to add a performance. So that's a great outreach effort to our campus and community. Academic Affairs partnered with Student Senate to host a 2-day event to raise awareness of breast cancer on October 24th and 25th. Students sold pink ribbon lapel pins, luminaries, and t-shirts, and had minute-to-win-it games for students. Over $600 was raised, and all proceeds will be donated to Hope for You, our local breast cancer support group, and an official check-giving ceremony will be held next Wednesday during Student Senate meeting. The Missouri Southern Center for Advanced Professional Studies, which we all call MOSO CAPS, of course, is doing great. We have seen steady growth in the program from the inaugural class of 43 students. She calls them associates in August of 2022. This year we have 67 student associates, and recognize we will probably reach our goal of 90 students within the next few years. More encouraging even is our retention rate so they come in as juniors, and the retention rate to the senior year is 93%. So they're here with us for 2 of their high school years. That's reflective of the quality of the program and the team itself, the experiences the students, associates receive through their industry placements. And you guys know that Governor Stoddard is an alum of that program. Their matriculation of those students to our full-time first-time freshmen is more than 40%. And I can tell you there are several students who had full intentions to go somewhere else, but because of the MOSO CAPS program, they chose Missouri Southern. I will also tell you that none of this would be possible without over 180 industry partners that work with us for these students to have their shadowing opportunities. The first-year students do 1 to 4 placements a semester, and the senior students do a little more in-depth placements. So the strands in that program are health science, business, and human services. And finally, an item that was not in your printed report, the Business Gateway Competition, an annual competition in the Plaster School of Business, was held just yesterday, and well over 600 students from 32 high schools were on campus and competed. Over 150 awards were given out, and I think they had a great time. So those are great opportunities for students to see our campus and consider going here. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Any questions for Dr. Thomas? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the report from our Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer, Ms. Linda Ice.
Thank you and good afternoon. I'll begin my report with talking about that our office, along with others, has been working on the final items for the FY24 annual audit, of which the results will be presented later in this meeting. For the month of October, we had 2 weeks where we had open enrollment for our annual insurance selections, and we had over 400 employees make their selections for the next calendar year. Human resources, this is the time of year, it's hard to believe that December is right around the corner, but the planning starts for the Employee Appreciation Brunch, and this is the time of year where we celebrate our employees for their impressive length of service, anywhere from 5 to 40 years. It just reminds us that everything that they do makes a difference on this campus and makes a difference for our students. Moving on over to the financial statements for the period ending October 31 of 2024. We begin with the cash graph, and it reflects a cash balance of $22.8 million. This is up about $800,000 over the prior year. We move on to the statement of net positions. We have assets of $195 million, liabilities of $130 million, which gives us net assets of $65 million. We next look at the comparative statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position, and we always look at the difference column so we can compare the prior year to the current year. Operating revenue shows an increase of about $900,000. Operating expense shows an increase of $3.6 million. Within that, we have a scholarship increase of $1 million, and within that a portion of that is our Pell federal grants that go to our students of almost $400,000. With all the FAFSA changes, some of the positives that have come out of that, they have changed the thresholds for our students, and so there are some additional students that are receiving a Pell that may not have in the past, and there's also the ability for some students to even receive a little more additional funding towards their education. Non-operating revenues increased by $1.3 million. On there you can see our base appropriation increase and the science to job appropriation. Income before other revenues for the current year reflects $2.8 million. The prior year reflects $4.2 million, so it gives us an overall decrease of $1.4 million. And in other revenue, we're starting to see some of the funding come in for the Health Science Innovation Center from the state, and you will see in the current year we have received $2.9 million towards that project. I'll answer any questions.
Governor Plotnick.
Linda, how will for the Health Sciences Center, how will they reimburse us back for that? So as we get current bills, do they pay a portion of it, or how does that work exactly?
The way that particular funding works, once we pay an invoice and we can show proof of payment, I send that up to the state of Missouri and they reimburse us. And they're pretty prompt on that. We've got a pretty good rhythm going, and so we can get reimbursed on that pretty quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the financial reports.
I'll make that motion.
Governor Plotnick, do I have a second? Second, Governor Morgan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Financial reports are approved. Thank you, Linda, for your report.
Thank you.
Moving on to our Associate Vice President of Admissions and Enrollment, Dr. Shelley Hewitt.
Thank you, Governor Haley. So last weekend, we hosted our final Lion Pride Visit Day for the fall. This semester, we have seen prospective students and families from all across the 4 states visiting campus for these events. From Oklahoma, we've seen individuals from Lawton Grove and Tulsa, Springdale and Bentonville, Arkansas, Chicago, Illinois, St. Louis, O'Fallon, Kansas City, and Springfield, Missouri. In Kansas, Parsons, Galena, and Lawrence. And of course, closer to home, all of the local high schools have attended our Lion Pride Visit Days. We've also seen new interest in Missouri Southern across the globe, with applications coming in from Canada, Mexico, Kazakhstan, Ethiopia, Turkey, Zimbabwe, Vietnam, Peru, and India. Moving on to our dual credit update, we're excited to see that Missouri Southern is becoming a more popular choice for dual credit. As we're adding approved instructors from various schools, this has been a key factor of the 10% enrollment growth that we've seen this fall for dual credit students. And now I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of our university marketing team, Miss Abby Morris. Has accepted the role of Director of Marketing, and I believe this is her 3rd week on the job. Yes. Abby has a background in higher education marketing, coming to us from Cali College in Kansas, and I'm really looking forward to working closely with Abby and her team to tell Missouri Southern's story through brand awareness and obviously to grow enrollment. Talent Search and Upward Bound have completed recruiting for the next cohort of students. In my report, you will see these 2 programs are growing and providing great support to students in our communities, opening up doors and providing opportunities for students to have the knowledge and confidence to pursue a college degree after high school. And we're very fortunate to have these students visiting our campus often so they understand what it's like to be here on campus, get acclimated with everything that we have to offer, and many of them do choose Missouri Southern to pursue their college degrees once they graduate. In other areas under enrollment services such as registrar, financial aid, bursar, and global leaders, they are all working diligently to meet the needs of our students. And the Strategic Enrollment Council is working on the strategic enrollment plan, and we have 3 subcommittees currently focusing on marketing and recruitment, retention and student success, and data and technology. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Dr. Hewitt? I do have one. You mentioned the increased interest in Missouri Southern from our international community. Can you name those for me again?
Oh,
I just want to make sure I heard them all.
absolutely. Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Kazakhstan, Ethiopia, Turkey, Zimbabwe, Vietnam, Peru, and India.
Kazakhstan.
Mhm.
I don't have a map in front of me. Help me.
There
Okay.
you go.
All right. I just didn't know if we had a recruiter that goes there.
Long drive.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right, next up is a report from our Director of Athletics, Mr. Rob Mallory.
Good afternoon. On October 12th, we celebrated the 2024 class of the Missouri Southern Athletics Hall of Fame with the induction of Larry Barnes from football, Arlie Smith from track and field, the 2009 women's cross country team, and as previously mentioned in Dr. Van Galen's report, the 1974-75 women's basketball team. More information on our inductees can be found on page 16 of the written report. Recently, our student athletes completed the 16th annual Trick or Treat So Others Can Eat food drive campaign to benefit Souls Harbor here in Joplin. It was a record year this year with more than 8,600 items collected for donation. Very timely this year as Souls Harbor had recently announced that they had to temporarily close due to lack of inventory in their food pantry. So a welcome donation for that organization for sure. And then finally, for the 6th consecutive year and 8th time in the last 13 years, we'll be hosting the NCAA Division II Central Region Men's and Women's Cross Country Championship here on campus tomorrow. The men will race at 10 a.m., the women at 11:15 a.m. As I said, this is the 6th year in a row. We'll host this again in 2025. We'll get a 1-year reprieve in 2026 and then back at it in 2027. So that concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Governor Seibert.
Rob, how many student athletes Saturday?
It's just the Central Region. It'll just be about, I say just about 300-ish.
So will there be any parking for the football game or no?
We are going to have cross-country traffic parked down on the lower lot, and then they'll also utilize other areas of campus. But we should be okay. It won't be quite the transition as we had when we had Southern Stampede and football on the same day.
Who's the furthest group that has to travel in for the event tomorrow?
It'll be the Dakotas, schools in Minnesota.
So they're here and they're in our hotels for a couple of nights.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Other questions for Mr. Mallory? All right, and we'll move on to our Faculty Senate President, Dr. Michael Blyfus.
Hi, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Faculty Senate has been working on a number of things, or I should say the committees have been working on a number of things. My report was submitted and you can read some detail there. I just want to highlight the UCPC is investigating adding a designation to transcripts for academic integrity violations if those occur. So that's a possibility of coming down the road. Faculty Welfare Committee is looking at a number of things. Their triennial pay equity review, as well as promotion compensation and adjunct and overload pay. So the Faculty Welfare has its hands full with those charges. The other thing I'd like to highlight from my report is something I added from between last time and this time I reported. I want to give a sense of the sort of the day-to-day activities of our instructors kind of participate in and the interactions between students and their instructors. So I asked Dr. Toms if I could have a look at the nominations for the teacher award and see what students said about their teachers as they were nominating them. And I think, so there was 52 different instructors nominated last year for the award, and there were well over 100 student comments about the different instructors. And I pulled a few of them out, and I might add these to my report in the future. Again, just the idea is to highlight what's going on right now across campus, what happens every day between instructors and students, in addition to the transfer of knowledge and mentorship and things like that. But the things that are a little harder to quantify. So I'm just going to read one of these on the page 2 of my report. I included 3 different comments. One of them is quite long, and I included it. I think it's worth reading because of it gives you a sense of what our students are going through and what they encounter on a day-to-day basis, many of them being first-generation students. I'm not going to read the long one. I'll read the shorter one, but I think it's worth hearing. So I removed the instructor's name, and this is a student. This is what they wrote about their instructor. It is abundantly clear just how much Dr. X cares about her students' learning and how passionate and knowledgeable she is about the subject she teaches. Her feedback is always extremely helpful, thoughtful, and balanced. She uplifts and encourages her students while still highlighting what needs improvement and providing us with great suggestions. Her teachings are inspiring and thought-provoking. The student goes on and says, "This semester has provided me with a unique set of obstacles, and when I brought my struggles to Dr. X's attention, she showed me kindness, grace, encouragement, and support without hesitation. Without a doubt, Dr. X is a gem, and MSSU is incredibly lucky to have her." So I just like to highlight those types of interactions and the things that go on beyond, the imparting of information and learning and stuff like that, but the mentorship and the connections that a lot of professors make with their students here. And that'll do it for my report. I'll welcome any questions.
No question from me, but a comment. I do appreciate you putting those in your report. I think it kind of keeps us centered and focused on why we're all here and keeping the students at the focus of what we do. So thank you and continue on.
Thanks.
Next up, Staff Senate President, Ms. Leona Belk.
Thank you. Just a few things I want to highlight in our report. We just recently wrapped up our third quarter Service Champ Awards. And so we had a total of 18 nominations that were submitted by staff, and that's the largest group of nominations that we have received in recent years. So we were pretty excited to see fellow staff acknowledging good works that their colleagues are doing. I am not going to publicly announce right now who the winners are. It is in your printed report, but it will be announced next week at our board meeting, or at our Senate meeting. But I do want to point out that we had pretty much everyone represented on campus, as far as director level all the way down to administrative and just support staff, physical plant staff. So it was really nice to see, you know, everyone on campus is doing their part and supporting that Lion Paw initiative that we have. A couple of committee updates. Our staff welfare is currently working on looking at benefits that are available to faculty and staff at Missouri Southern. And so they're going to be compiling a document that is going to showcase different, you know, whether it's with the rec center and being able to use the facilities on campus, or the different things we can get through the library, such as New York Times subscriptions or Ancestry.com subscriptions. And once they gather that document, they're going to go around campus and kind of make sure everyone's aware of all the different benefits that they have from Southern that are not, you know, specific to like compensation. And then it is Angel Tree time, so I want to showcase that. We currently have 57 tags for students that were submitted for Angel Tree, and last I heard we had 17 still pending Pell eligibility. And so it's a great time of year, and we love giving back to our students with the Angel Tree. And that concludes my report. Open to any questions.
Any questions? Thank you for your report. Next up is our student governor, Mr. Maddox Studdard.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to start off by bringing some attention to our School of Business. Yesterday was one of the biggest days for the Placer School of Business, and that was because of the Business Gateway event that we had. For those who don't know, Business Gateway is an FBLA style event that brings over about 40 schools and over 600 students to campus. And it's a day of friendly business competition and workshops. This year we had multiple choice tests for students to attend, and in-person events that they could be judged on, like product presentation. Professors, along with other members of the university, were judges for the events. This year, Business Gateway was led by Professors Dr. Dilly and Dr. Burink and the students of the Planning and Management class. And I would also like to mention my experience with the Business Gateway event. I attended it back in 2022 as a high school student, and at first it was a little bit overwhelming. There were so many students in a small building. Well, it wasn't a small building, but just it was so dense with all the high school students from the area. But as the day went on, I had increasingly more fun, and I was a little worried about how our product would uphold in the competition. Sadly, we didn't win any prizes. But I would like to give a ton of credit and praise to MSSU students this year, Jessica Chidas and Parker Erickson, for their efforts in recruiting students to help with the event. It wouldn't have run smoothly as it did without them. As mentioned in Dr. Tom's report, Missouri Southern is also very grateful for student organizations like Student Senate. Raising over $600 for the Hope for You organization is just incredible. And that organization raises breast cancer awareness and money for treatments. Speaking of student organizations, the Campus Activity Boards, or also known as CAB, had a safe Halloween event in the BSC, and this event was for families and students in the Joplin area, and they could participate in activities that was paired with prizes and candy. It was a great turnout, and the Joplin community always loves attending this event. And I would just like to say these student organizations are what really help bring the students and families of the Joplin area together. Lastly, I'd like to say the China immersion trip is next week. We'll leave Saturday. Dr. Hodson and Dr. Goswick will be leading us and another few group of students over in China, and we'll be landing in Shanghai and spending most of our time in Hangzhou, China. Other opportunities students can attend in beginning of next year for a short-term abroad trip or in Italy, Turkey, and Ghana. And these are all available between the months of April and May of spring 2025. And finally,
Thanksgiving break couldn't come any sooner. All students are excited and ready for the time off to go home and see their families, some being for the first time this year. Thank you again for this amazing fall semester, and I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And that concludes my report.
So, questions for Mr. Studdard? Just not I guess, confirmation. You're going on the Emerging China trip, correct?
I am.
And the flight will be your...
Very first
Okay.
flight.
We wish you well on that.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to the board committee section. First up is Personnel and Compensation Committee. Governor Elliott.
We did not meet.
Okay. Easy peasy. Next, Academic Affairs, Governor Morgan.
Yes, the Academic Affairs Committee met this morning, and the committee approved 2 course program changes, BS in Agriculture Business and an undergraduate certificate in medical humanities. So we need full board approval and vote for these programs. So we need to approve here, correct? Yes. So I would entertain a motion to approve the BS Agriculture Business degree.
So moved.
Second.
Second, approval of those programs.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Perfect.
And then we also need approval for a certificate, an undergraduate certificate in medical humanities. Do I have a motion to approve the medical this certificate in medical humanities?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Anything else for Academic Affairs?
I don't believe so. We'll just look forward to those new programs.
Okay. Thank you, Governor Morgan. Next up is Budget and Audit, Governor Seibert.
Good afternoon. Budget and Audit Committee meeting met this morning, and there were 3 main topics that we'll be bringing forward to the full vote of the board. The first being the FY24 audit. Second is the audit contract, the offer to extend 1 more additional year. And then the third item that was discussed and we'll be voting on is the residence, life, housing, and meal FY26 rates. At this time, I would like to introduce Allison Gardner with Forvis Mazars. She is our lead contact for our results of our audit. And Allison, I will turn the presentation over to you.
Thank you. Well, I've been told that I do not need to do my full presentation in front of the board, even though I know that the Budget Audit Committee enjoyed that, but I will keep it short and sweet, wink, wink. Thank you for having me to here. I'm excited to present the results of the FY24 audit, but before I get into that, I have a couple of thank yous because it takes a village, as has been stated in the Budget Audit Committee. So first, just want to give a big thank you to the financial services team, Linda Ice, Michelle Arwood, Chrissy Jennings, Melissa Hunter. We could not do this and be here at the meeting today without them. They do such a great job, and it is very much appreciated. Makes our jobs very easy as your auditor. The financial aid team does a tremendous job. We ask a lot of questions. We have a lot of samples that we have to test. So the financial aid team, Tyler Meyer and his group, they are tremendous to work with, and we really appreciate them. Alicia Hughes in the Bursar, again, She is super helpful, enjoy working with her, and then the registrar. Those are primarily the departments that we're working with, but we know that there are countless others behind the scenes just helping to get the audit completed. So thank you to all of those involved. We really appreciate it and enjoy working with them. So as far as the audit goes, happy to let you all know as the board that we have issued our audit opinion. We have issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. So what that means is that is the highest level of opinion. It indicates that it is a clean opinion. So the financial statements fairly present the financial statement and the activity of Missouri Southern State University. So happy to report that. And then with that, we have no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting. So again, just a testament to the financial services team and the good work that they put in throughout the time that we're doing the audit, which also I hope gives the board comfort knowing that the financial information that's presented is accurate whenever it's provided to you. The next thing I wanted to talk about is with the financial statement audit, we also, because of the amount of federal awards that the university expends, we have to test compliance with we follow the compliance supplement. So each year there's a determination based on how much you spend, determines how much we have to test. This year we had 4 major programs that had to be audited. The first one being student financial aid, very typical. University provides a lot to its students, so that was the first major program that we had to test. TRIO, this year we usually have to test that once every 3 years, so it was a year that TRIO had to be tested. The third major program was, it's called Congressional Directives. This was the $2 million in funding from HRSA for the Blunt Health Science Innovation Center. And then the last major program was funds spent from the state of Missouri ARPA funds. So that is the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. That is a mouthful. So that is, I will point out that specific program, because of the dollars that Missouri Southern is getting from the state of Missouri that originated with the Department of Treasury, we will have to test that as a major program likely until it's entirely spent. So, but with that, happy to report that from those 4 major programs that we had to test, that we did not have any compliance findings. So, job well done. Very happy to report that. So that is what I have prepared. If there are any questions.
Any questions for Allison? Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Before the board votes, I just want to reiterate my compliments to Linda and her staff. I think this was the 11th year in a row for a clean audit. That is something to be incredibly proud of. That just reflects the quality of work that your department does, and it's year-round. We certainly don't take that for granted, and on behalf of this board, I would like to offer my congratulations and deepest thanks for all the work that you all do. Thank you. And now, based on the presentation that we heard in the committee and the discussion, I look for a motion to approve the audit for financial year 2024.
So moved.
I've got a motion by Mr. Hendricks, Governor Hendricks, and Governor Elliott to approve the audit for fiscal year 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The next item that we will be voting on is the conversation that we had around the one-year extension for the audit contract with Forvis Mazars. I will need a motion for that.
So moved.
I've got a motion by Governor Morgan,
Second.
second by Governor Hirschway. All in favor for the one-year extension of the original audit contract with Forvis Mazars, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the final item before the board is a vote on the committee's motion to approve the resident life housing rate increase of 3% and meal rate increase of 4%. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion by Governor Oplotnik and a second by
I'll second.
Governor Morgan. All those in favor of the increased rates say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. And this concludes the Budget and Audit Committee.
Thank you, Governor Seibert. Next up on the agenda is old business. Any old business to come before the board? Hearing none for old business. Next is any new business? Nothing new? Everybody's ready for Thanksgiving? Okay. Well, the next you can see on your packet, future meeting dates. Our next meeting is January 10th, 2025. If you can believe this year's almost over. Next month will be winter commencement, so looking forward to that as well. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Governor Rosenberg, Governor Seibert. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
He got the world.